Welcome to Dig It, a real estate podcast by Hubble Realty Company. Has it felt like West Des Moines as a city has been in the headlines a lot lately? Because I kind of feel like it has. And that's why we brought Ryan Moffett on. He is the city's economic and community development director. And we brought him on with our land development vice president, Caleb Smith, to talk about all things West Des Moines. There is a lot of huge projects underway from Valley West, the Grand Experience. We even have a new home building community that is underway that we dive into a little bit. But really at the crux of it all is how is West Des Moines continuing to be a business and housing attraction for all the people that we want to bring into central Iowa. And if that sounds interesting to you, you have come to the right place. It's Dig It, a real estate podcast by Hubble Realty Company, and we're going to dive in. All right, everybody, I have Ryan Moffett with West Des Moines. You are the Community and Economic Development Director for the city of West Des Moines.
That's correct.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And on my right, I have our VP of Land Development, Caleb Smith.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you so much for coming in on this nice, warm summer day.
Oh, yeah.
Don't mind me while we're just, if my hair was down right now, not that either of you two men care.
The poof.
It is poofy.
Yeah,
Like it has its own body right now. Thank you guys for joining me because we're going to talk a little bit land development, economic development, things of that nature. So Ryan, will you kick us off and just tell us a little bit about what you do with West Des Moines and how long you've been there? Because you've been in this economic development game for a while. We all know that.
Been around the block for a little bit now. I have been at West Des Moines for about 3 years now. So our office, basically, we've got a small staff of 6. We oversee economic development efforts for the city, for one, obviously.
Small but mighty.
And that just really entails, attracting and recruiting companies to the city, retaining the ones we've got, making sure they're content. We do a little bit of marketing work for the city. We actually oversee housing efforts for the city too. So whether that be trying to get more quality, affordable housing stock in the city or really rejuvenating the stock that we've got, that's something that our office works on as well. So prior to this role, I was with City of Des Moines for 18 years. Got started as a city planner there and then worked my way up into the exciting world of economic development then.
I love that. And so Caleb, tell people, for watchers, viewers, listeners, a little bit about land development because, people may not know that Hubble has a land development arm, which to me it only makes sense. But
well, yeah, certainly Hubble's got a bunch of different divisions, right? But my job in land development is finding key pieces of ground that can be used for development. A lot of my focus is in residential world, single family townhomes, but also our multifamily team. We also help on industrial sites and finding the right pieces for projects like that. So my job is in the central Iowa area is to help our teams find parcels that they can go and build the great things that everybody likes to see. Because what I do is all under the ground and just smoothing out dirt and it's like just making a mess, right? Then our other teams come in and do our great things. But that's our job, is to find those right places.
And strategically so, right?
Oh, yeah, very much so.
That's the key. And because you followed in the footsteps of, was it Clyde Evans?
Clyde Evans.
Okay, over at West Des Moines. And so he had been there for
32 years.
So long.
Yeah.
Did you guys get to overlap in that role and learn a thing or two before going into that? Or was that kind of...
And I'd known Clyde for years. I mean, he was kind of a legend in the industry.
Yeah.
So we did overlap for about a little over a month, but it was good to kind of get the experience from an icon like that too and learn how he did things to kind of get me immersed in West Des Moines.
What is the Sandlot quote? Heroes are, oh no. But legends never die. Like that one, you know what I'm talking about? I'll nail it later. You're also sitting amongst Iowa State grads. So I'm also a fellow Cyclone.
Yes.
So,
all right. Go Cyclones.
Right?
That's right.
Roll
That's
Cyclones.
right. That's right.
Awesome. Well, how do you two, first my kid of the day, I told you I was going to do it. How do you guys know each other? How have you overlapped in your careers, whether it's economic or land development?
So this goes back to when my career started. So you start working on a project, and he was the planner on one of my first projects. And I quickly realized in working with Ryan that Ryan's the kind of guy you go to that's like, you can't quite solve something in the city, you can't get connected with the right person, and he's like, oh no, you're talking to the wrong person. Here's who you need to chat with, or hey, let me make a phone call.
Yeah.
And I've always, in working with Ryan, it helped me get a lot of projects through Des Moines in my early career as a civil engineer prior to I came to Hubble. And that's why I think we started building our relationship. It's just a relationship of we want to get things done. We want to do it the right way. And, if he said he was going to do something, he did it. And I tried to return the favor. And then as he continued down his economic world, we got connected on other projects, finding how to make things happen. And Ryan's just a guy that wants to get something done. I'm a guy that wants to get something done. So I just think
you guys
just works out really well.
Together well.
Yeah. Well, time has flown by, but it seems like we do go back quite a ways now into some of the projects we've worked on over the years. But I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think that sometimes in the world of government, there are some people that like to tout code requirements and restrictions, and it is a regulatory environment that we have to operate in. So don't want to minimize that, but in the same stretch, I've always kind of applied the principle of let's solve a problem, let's get something built, let's move forward and not just be an obstructionist, but how do we move forward?
Yeah. Well, and I think and a lot of times that pace is not exactly at the pace that people would like it to be at, right? But in the world of development, which I now have been in for almost a decade, which is weird to say, I am now in the mindset of, that project's 2 years out. It's right around the corner. It's not that hard for a team like ours to look out and say, okay, 27, 28, 2029. But for the general public, that's hard to do. That's hard to.
Yeah, and it might seem like a long time, but I think when I hear our peers in other parts of the country and what they have to go through in terms of the regulatory hurdles, the weights that are involved with getting permits and things like that, we really have it pretty well here. Yeah. But it does take a long time, as Caleb can attest to get the financing put together, to work with a whole team of designers to do what you need to do, go through all the processes before we ever put a shovel of dirt in the ground. Yeah.
Well, can we talk about West Des Moines a little bit and just kind of it being this growth engine? You guys have announced a lot of really exciting projects that are coming up in the next, handful of years or, 5-10 years. But what does housing look like in terms of kind of some of that growth,
Yeah. Where to start? I mean, I think that
exactly.
West Des Moines is in a fortunate position in that it's got a very diverse, strong economy. It's not just held by one or two sectors. We've got medical, we've got retail, certainly finance and insurance. We've got the emerging tech with the data centers. So we are basically a community that people travel into every day, whether it's during the work week for all the employers that are based there or the visitors that might come to facilities like the Recplex or Jordan Creek Town Center on the weekend. We are a hub of activity.
Hi, we both commute in. I do at least.
I've got a 3-minute commute to my office.
Oh, that's right. Mine's 20. Everyone thinks Stewart's so far away.
It's way out
and
there.
It is
halfway to Omaha.
Oh my God, you two. All right, you're not helping my case.
Yeah, on the housing front, I mean, I think that it's a diverse array of housing in West Des Moines too. It's not just one homogenous type where we're only doing single family homes. It's duplex, townhome, multifamily, everything in between. And so I was surprised to see this, but this is actual census data. The amount of what we call attached housing in West Des Moines as a percentage is actually higher than in the city of Des Moines. And I would have never expected that until I saw the data with my own eyes. But I think that just goes to show you that we do have a lot of diverse types of housing stock there. And I think, where I see us going right now, and we look at kind of our growth areas in the future, obviously Dallas County's been hot for quite a long time. It's getting tougher to find the right pieces of property in West Des Moines, in Dallas County. You're dealing with more topography there. You're dealing with higher land costs. It still is a desirable place to be at.
Definitely.
But that still is a growth area for us. It's just fewer and further between than maybe it historically has been. And then, another area that we're going into right now is the Warren County part of West Des Moines. A lot of people don't know this, but we're the only city in Iowa that's actually located in 4 different counties.
I was going to say, isn't it 4? Okay,
it's 4 counties.
I kind of pride myself on my county knowledge, and I was like, I'm pretty sure it's 4, but I didn't want to. A lot of
subdivisions lining up right now near Veterans Parkway, kind of the chicken restaurant, if you think where that's at right now.
Great locational pinpoint for you. Thank you.
I honestly think Warren County is a great area of growth. I mean, you start looking at going out west, still great opportunities. And there are going to be great projects that'll come forward out there in time. But I think you start looking at Warren County. Now you're getting just closer to downtown, right? So if those people that are worried about commute times or folks maybe they're driving 2 different directions, I think that's an area that's going to continue to grow and be in demand. And you're seeing a lot of activity out there. There's multiple subdivisions underway in that area. Obviously, we have a piece there we're trying to get going. And we believe that area is going to be real successful over the next 10 years. So West Des Moines is in a great position. And one thing I've always appreciated about West Des Moines is the variety. They have been supportive of a variety of housing ever since I've been in the business. And I think it's made West Des Moines part of the reason they're so such a great community to be in.
It's like you have little pockets of the variety where it's like, do I want to be more single family based? But you also just you could be along one street and follow it from end to end and just, I don't know, get a really good, I don't know, variety of what you could have, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And
at different price points.
Another thing that I hear from real estate agents too are if people want to pick their school district, West Des Moines got 6 different public school districts within it, in addition to the parochial schools and private schools that are out there. So, if people do want to strive to maybe be in the Van Meter part of West Des Moines and go into that school district, they can. If the Waukee School District has maybe gotten too big, I mean, the project that we're working on right now with Hubble, that's in the Norwalk School District. So a little bit of variety there too. And I would say too that, one of the things that really kind of sets West Des Moines apart maybe is the commitment to infrastructure that we've got, very high quality infrastructure. We probably build more roads than any city in the state of Iowa, and I don't say that jokingly either. And some of that's come off the backs of data centers and these big TIF producing projects that we've had out there to help pay for that kind of thing. But then on the quality of life side of things too, I mean, we do have a parkland dedication requirement, and developers might not always love that, but I think they could always appreciate what that does long term for the communities that they build.
Yeah. I mean, what's your take on that?
Well, I think parks are a critical component, and I think one of the things that West Des Moines always does good is they've always got a really good vision of where they want stuff at. So as you're looking at a parcel of ground, you kind of know and have an expectation of what the city is going to expect to see.
Yeah.
And there's a requirement. It's nothing out of line from what you see from other areas, but I also am seeing West Des Moines parks take on more drainage ways, which honestly is probably a great asset as you start to add those up over time. Now you've got trail corridors and things like that to just naturally exist. So while you see the number at first, you may go, wow, it's a lot, but then you realize, wait, you're going to take a bunch of ground that I can't really do anything with anyway. It doesn't end up being that much. And on the infrastructure side, Ryan's right. I mean, West Des Moines has high expectations on infrastructure. They really do, always have. But they also have reasonable discussions about, is this a cost that's more than this project should carry? And then let's talk about and figure out a way to make it right. Yeah. I do think that as a city, you can go in and have conversations and explain your side. They'll explain their side. And usually, if you come with the right approach, you come to an answer. Maybe it's not exactly what you want, but it could be a reasonable answer. So
yeah, and I do think, that's what we're there for, is to, again, find solutions to these problems. I mean, that's our job, is to usher through development as hopefully as painlessly as we can.
As much as, yeah, exactly. What are some of those transformations that you're most excited about along that infrastructure, I guess?
Well, obviously data centers have gotten controversial, but the one thing I will say that, we've got 5 Microsoft data center campuses in West Des Moines, and our number right now, what that's helped us build from an infrastructure standpoint is over $300 million.
Wow.
And so as my predecessor Clyde would say, he didn't think that he would ever see Veterans Parkway constructed in his lifetime, let alone his career at the city of West Des Moines.
Right.
That all got accomplished. I mean, for decades, it was just a dash line on a map. It's in right now. And the thing that I'm excited about is we've made this big investment. Now we're reaping the rewards of it as we watch it spur additional development.
Right. Well, what's it been like to see? I don't say this. I'm not trying to age you both. Okay. I'm just going to preface it right now. However, I remember being at the grand opening of Jordan Creek as a younger woman and thinking it was so cool. And so I'm wondering what you guys, just rewinding, like you said, 10, 20 years, having seen West Des Moines come from what it was to what it is. And then you have kind of this unique role where you can even look out further and say, okay, I know what it's going to be, or I have a good feeling about what it's going to be, right?
Well, plenty of exciting things to talk about there. I think that, we have to acknowledge that West Des Moines now is a maturing suburb. Yeah. And quite honestly, I might spend 30 to 35% of my time going forward on redevelopment. Yep. And so that could entail everything from the redevelopment of Valley West Mall, which is obviously very front and center right now.
I didn't know if we were going to talk about it today, but we can talk about it a little bit if you want.
That's all we know right now.
Oh, we're okay. All right.
But we'll come back to it. There's other areas too. The Grand Experience Project, which is the large indoor water park conference center on Grand Avenue, proximate to the Recplex. I mean, that's something that I'm actively working on again right now. That to me is probably the corridor, the Grand Avenue corridor west of I-35, that has the most potential for commercial growth in the future for West Des Moines.
It has been so cool to see that just build out, and I know it's not even close, but
buckle up. We've got more to come there. Hopefully, some news here. News here soon on that again. So,
I love that. Oh, can we go back to housing?
Yeah, let's do that.
Where do you want to go? You take us somewhere. Where should we go? Public-private partnerships. I mean, I know that was one of the things that I had wrote down. I wanted to talk to you guys about that because, again, you've touched on it a little bit, but how important are those to keep that conversation going, even when there's not maybe a project in queue like there is right now?
Well, I think when you have cities and private developers work together on a project, generally you're going to end up with a more superior product, no matter how it works. Yeah. Sometimes the ask is a lot and it's too much to happen, but when you can find the right ask, generally that helps support things that could otherwise not happen in a project. We're working on one that Ryan kind of mentioned in Warren County right now, our Willow Preserve subdivision. And
what was it? Sorry, Willow Preserve.
Willow
Preserve. That's right. I always try and keep up with all the names because we hear one name and then we switch it to something marketing and pretty.
It always starts with the seller, whatever.
Something
property.
ground, right? Something, and then John Doe ground, and then it turns into.
Your wonderful team comes in
Willow
and gives
Preserve.
us a great name that we move forward with, and then
Thank you, Willow Preserve.
Try to change it so we don't have that problem. But that's a great example of we got 150 acres of ground down there for residential development. It's it's right next to the city of Cumming, but in West Des Moines. And we had a gravel road right next to it. And so it's always a question of how do you deal with the gravel road in these developments. Yeah. And I will give West Des Moines and Ryan and his teams, a lot of credit. They were forthright right from the beginning to say, look, we want to encourage responsible residential growth. Mm-hmm. We want to see quality developments come in, but we understand it's a lot to pave the road to our standards.
Right.
If you're only going to be building this, one side of that road. So they've worked with us on a reasonable idea on how they might be able to help offset some of those costs, which then helps us do a little bit more in the park area. We're going to grade out the park for them because we can now afford to do it. And that little bit has made it be to where this project now really works. We're meeting lots of different home builders right now on that property. They're excited about the lots. They're excited about the lot price point we can get at, which is really affordable price point, still be quality homes.
But that all goes back to the home buyer, which I know that is kind of just at the end of the day, we're trying to think about the residents, the future residents, and people that we can draw and attract to your city. Right?
Yeah, and I'd say, we've got, a big charge with our elected officials. I think there's a desire to want to try to create more affordable owner-occupied housing options in West Des Moines.
We say attainable here usually, but I don't.
Whatever.
Whatever.
I'm fine with affordable, but I get the connotation.
I am too, but then it's just people just they're just tossing it out more and more, and I'm like, I'm just gonna keep switching it until it loses this connotation with it, where it's just like, can you want the house at the price point that you want to buy, that works for you, and my budget is not the same as yours, and yours might not be the same as yours, and that's all okay.
Yeah, and I think there's a million definitions of affordable or attainable, what that means to different people. So sometimes you do have to clarify that. But, I think we can all attest to what housing costs are doing out there. And I think that when I go around and meet with different groups, that's something that maybe registers a lot higher on people's radars, the desire to have more attainable or affordable housing, just because people know what they're having to pay now. And I think, in some cases it can stretch people a little bit further. So what can we do as a city, whether it's regulatory requirements or assisting with infrastructure costs, to maybe create an environment where we can keep those costs down just a little bit further? One thing we're looking at right now is refinements to our zoning code that would allow everything from more flexibility on setbacks to smaller lot sizes, allowing people to utilize more of the yard that they do buy instead of just having it there as green grass. So we're in the early stages of that right now, but that's all built on the need to try to create more housing options for more people.
Yes, and I've heard Mayor Trimble talk about that at length at different times here and there.
He's very passionate about it, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, and you get him and Joe P. and a couple of other of our team members in a room together, and then
they'll solve the world's problems, right?
And
then they come to Ryan and I to say, how are we going to get it done?
You guys implement it.
How are we going to do that exactly? Yeah.
That's so true. I can't wait for them to hear that part. You mentioned other local builders that you have been having conversations with when you're talking about West Des Moines and what could potentially come there with 150 acres. And again, land is not always easy to come by. So what are those other home builders saying, and what's kind of the strategic approach, I guess, to trying to get other local builders in on projects like this?
Yeah, so we in Founders Glen was a project that we had a similar situation where we partnered with a couple other builders up in Grimes. We partnered with KRM and Jerry's Homes there. Not only on them coming in and building on the lots, but also in the development. We're trying to do the same thing at Willow Preserve. We've got 2 other builders. I'm not going to say their name because I don't want to jinx things, but conversations have been really good up to this point in time. But we're trying to do the same thing, and it's twofold. One, now we've got 3 committed quality volume builders that can really build a lot of homes in this project, which helps that project move fast. But they're also quality builders, so we can control the appearance. We don't have lots selling off to other folks that don't build the kind of product we would like, and there's just more coordination and collaboration about who's going to build at what price point, how the product's going to like. Are we going to use hardboard? Are we going to use vinyl? All those kinds of little nuances, but we're all agreeing on it, and we're going to work together, through that community. It's worked well in Grimes. I think the 2 builders we're talking to right now think this is a great project. They're real excited to be involved. And I'm just excited to have another great partnership there that, with great builders that are going to help make a great community. One of the things I always love is, I say, build sweet subdivisions. Is what I always used to say when I was on the engineering side. I always like to do sweet subdivisions. Now I get to see those come to life, and it's really exciting to see that. So.
You've always been kind of nerdy.
I am. Well, I'm an engineer.
Just a little bit. I thought you were going to ask me a question, the way you looked at me. Sorry.
No,
I didn't want to cut you off.
No.
How important is it, kind of piggybacking off of that, how important is it to have that kind of mix of new housing options to support that workforce? I know we kind of talked about it, but long-term development-wise too, you're trying to look out and say, okay, planning for the next 5 to 10 years, how can we bring in that mix of product?
I think mix is the key word there. I mean, I think that when we look at the growth that this metro is on, I mean, we're still adding 10 to 11,000 people a year. And so they have to live somewhere. We're not always going to be able to do that just with the housing stock that we've got, obviously. So we're going to have new housing options out there. But, I mentioned too the redevelopment piece of this. There are portions of our city that might be office park today, and as office market demand has subsided a little bit. Maybe there are opportunities to take some of these office parks areas long term and make it more of a neighborhood. Add green space, add residential. We'd still have office and retail mixed in, but that's our best answer when we think of the West Town Corridor, West of Valley West Mall. That's been an 80s office park, and unfortunately that's a product type that kind of fallen out of favor unless you really re-amenitize those office spaces.
Yeah, I think it's always, our headquarters is obviously, maybe not so obviously, in West Des Moines. And so I know that just from Hubble's standpoint, we appreciate being part of that community just because of all of the different, connections and things that it has given us over the years. But but
you see a lot of them. They're all over the metro. They have the same issue, and I just think the cities that can be proactive in that realm,
then reactive,
are gonna see those areas come back and become a great part of the community they want it to be.
Well, and it takes some creativity. I mean, it takes a lot of creativity to be able to look at an office park and see it be something else. Right. Or a mall and see it be something else. For example.
And even with Valley West Mall, that's almost 60 acres in the heart of the city, right? I mean, for all purposes, that is the geographic population center of the metro. And, whatever the outcome of that property is, I think we probably are aware that that's going to be at least a third housing someday. There's not going to be the demand there for as much retail as what previously existed. So how do we make that be a mix? How do we have that be a walkable destination that people can come to, park their car once, be entertained, go out to eat, maybe even choose to call it home if they so chose. So
I'm excited to see where that goes. I'm excited for a lot of the projects that are coming up in West Des Moines. Are there other ones that we haven't mentioned? Because I don't want to, we're kind of like winding down our time already, which is crazy to me, but I don't want to leave any project out.
I think one of the bigger ones we're looking at is the Regency West Office Park. Right now, it's suffering from occupancy issues or vacancy issues there as well. It's got new owners, a group called Bradford Allen out of Chicago. So we are working with them right now to try to reimagine what that property is going to be. I mentioned Valley West Mall, almost 60 acres right on the road. Here's another 40-some acre property right in the heart of our community that's going to need some attention long term. So that's one to keep your eyes on in addition to Grand Avenue and the Grand Experience. And, I think another thing too that has been a nice change of pace, and we haven't done a whole lot with it as a city, but Jordan Creek Town Center. 20 years later, and there's some restaurant spaces that are suffering from vacancy issues there. And I think there are 4 vacant restaurant spaces right now Some of this has become public. Some of it's still kind of behind the scenes and being worked on, but they're having really good luck getting tenants back in there again. And so this kind of re-evolving as Jordan Creek Town Center ages a little bit. How do we make sure that that's a center of attraction and activity for our city long term?
Well, and it's one of those, it's like anything. It's cyclical, and it's also, it's just, you have to take a look at it. And post-COVID, too. I mean, I know we're 5 years off of it. It depends who you ask on how far off of it we are. But you have to evolve. You have to be willing to change and kind of just see what the market wants and how you respond to it, right? I mean, it's same for housing, same for...
Yep. And, even here recently, the past year, I would say, it was townhomes were a hot commodity.
The thing.
And then this year, it's like everybody's in single family. So things are changing. I think as cities like West Des Moines continue to look at ways to help these inner areas grow, there's going to be some residential opportunities in those areas that we're keeping a close eye on. Maybe there's something we can be a part of down the road.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of those areas, especially some of the project areas we're talking about, are going to be excellent areas, and they're going to really help West Des Moines continue to be the great community it is. So
I agree. Okay, since it's summer, where are we finding you guys outside of work? Shifting gears, like when you're not looking at all of the building. Are you guys one of those? Are you traveling around looking at buildings and land?
Absolutely.
And my goodness,
I knew it.
I knew it by the way you both were looking at me. What do you guys like? Where do you find that enjoyment and kind of that that energy that you bring back to, the career that you are in?
Well, my world revolves around child sports right now.
Well,
yes. So you ask where I'm at. Usually I'm at some sort of ball field somewhere with my son. So, but the interesting thing is the people you can meet there.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I talk to folks that are in different industries and different worlds, just kind of see their perspective on things is interesting. But how do I kind of come back with my ideas? I just kind of pay attention. If I'm going anywhere, I just kind of pay attention to the communities. And as I was jokingly saying, I will stop and look at what they're building and try and visualize what's going on. And kind of see, and it does give you unique ideas. But the cool thing is in Des Moines, we're doing a lot of things that the other areas are doing. It's not like, we're so far behind. We're doing a lot of really interesting things.
We're so far ahead. I mean, too, you
in a lot of situations. And now we've got a
Yeah.
city like West Des Moines looking at their zoning code to say, how do we make changes to be more flexible? I just think that's cool, and it's cool to be a part of it and see those things change and evolve and us getting better. And I don't know. I just keep my eyes open and watch what I can watch.
So we'll find you at youth sports.
Watching the dozers across the distance, what they're doing. Yeah, that's right.
Just like a little kid.
Yep.
You and my 4-year-old son.
Hey, you can come with me.
Bulldozer. What about you, Ryan?
I think we're blessed to live in a great community, especially in the summer months. I mean, there's always something great going on. So whether that's the Valley Junction Farmers Market on a Thursday night, Principal Charity Classic, Des Moines Art Festival, there's always great things that you can do when the weather is not outrageously hot out.
Yes.
So I have the youth sports thing too that I'm doing, probably a little less busy on that front than Caleb is, but we do like to travel a fair amount too.
Yeah.
And so I do get inspiration from other places. I do, when I do travel, like to go to, different suburban communities now and just see what they might be doing, especially when it comes to redevelopment that we need to be mindful of.
So market studies while you're vacationing.
Yeah, I guess we are nerds like that, and that I find enjoyment out of that. And
I think you have to be in our roles.
I was going to say,
I train my kids.
I'm glad you are. I'm glad you are, because you can see. We've been out on different projects together, and I look at him and I said, "Tell me what you're seeing." Like, tell me what you're looking at right now, because I know what I'm looking at from, maybe a PR lens or a marketing lens or whatever, or even just from, I'm one of our drone operators. And so I'm like, I'll go over and I say, okay, where's this road going to be at exactly? And he's already got, he's got it mapped out in his brain. And so I do think it's just fascinating to learn from the both of you. And we just overlapped a little while ago at a West Des Moines event, a luncheon.
Chamber event,
Yep. And so I love what the chamber's doing. I think you guys have just such palpable energy with West Des Moines, and just the things that you're doing. And then just like you said, the events that you're hosting too.
Yep, great synergy with the chamber. I mean, they are a partner. I mean, in some places, maybe on the small business entrepreneurship, they pick us up where we might not be as strong as a city. So same thing, we collaborate all the time. Great partners there.
Well, we appreciate having you as a partner. And so we're going to go off the rails for our last question.
Okay. Right,
it's just a randomly generated question. And I think I like the fact that we brought up your nerdiness, because I populated this question earlier, and I think it's going to lean into that. Just a smidge.
I'm a little nervous now. Now I'm nervous.
Okay, good.
See, now I'm nervous.
Good. That was the point. It was, what was your favorite video game growing up as a kid? I was a farm kid. I have one, but I really didn't play video games that much.
I've got an easy one.
Okay. Why do you think it's the same as Caleb's?
I don't think it is.
No?
Mine, without question, was SimCity, which
SimCity was
got me started in my roots as a city planner, doing what I do today. Without question, that had influence on what I do today.
That is
I did play a lot of
solid
SimCity, and it's probably up there for me. But I do think my favorite game is an old Nintendo game called Baseball Stars.
Baseball
It was one of the first games you could make a team, you could improve
Like build
players,
it out.
and trade players. It was very basic, but man, I spent a lot of hours on that game.
I love that.
And how about you coming from the farm? What's yours then?
Okay, so mine plays into it a little bit, but Oregon Trail was like, if I'm going to really rewind, it was Oregon Trail because it's
Apple IIe version.
It was just like you had to make it to the destination. I'm a little bit competitive. But yeah, I was usually like death by rattlesnake bite or, something dysentery.
Someone went down with dysentery. Yep.
Yes, but I didn't get to play. I was never playing video games. I was always out doing something outside, but that was a guilty pleasure one that we got to do.
That's fun.
So thank you guys so much. I know we're going to have a lot more to talk about as some of these developments come to fruition. We'd love to have you or anyone at the city back on to talk more about Valley West and everything else that we've got going from a project, Willow Preserve. And we'll drop some links to some releases and stuff in the show notes too, so people can go out and find all of the good things that are happening out there, both with Hubble and with West Des Moines. So
thank you so much for having us today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Dig It, a real estate podcast by Hubble Realty Company. To explore more episodes, blogs, projects, and insights from us, visit the newly revamped HubbleRealty.com. Dig It is an amplified Des Moines production brought to you by Hubble. 170 years of enriching quality of lives in our communities through construction, development, home building, and property management. Like, share, subscribe, follow, do all the things, and see you next time.